Something that you see over and over again brought up is this phrase that one of our political parties is focused on conspiracy theories and general misinformation and propaganda that are being amplified by Russian officers that are paid to go on the internet constantly and promote division and confusion. This is not a disputed fact. Russia has specific people, 9 to 4,000 of them, whose daily job is to go online and sow division and confusion and lack of trust in our government. They're paid to do this. They do it constantly. And the reason why is pretty obvious. It's the least expensive and most effective export that Russia has. And return on investment is extremely, extremely high. The object of the game is not to lift Russia up or make it better or increase the number of products that Russia is able to sell. It is only to pull every other liberal democracy in the world down, or every other government in the world that has any interest in opposition to that of Putin. This you can see over and over again, and it's partly a tactical strategy for the Republican Party. You may remember that we had Republicans saying that the 2020 election was stolen, that there were inconsistencies and holes that made it look like Swiss cheese. And so what did people who were loyal to their country do at that point? Well, they said, if you have evidence that horrible things are going on, you should take it to the courts. Did anyone say, no, don't take your concerns to the legal authorities because we don't want these things to come out of these terrible Hugo Chavez ghost protocols that are coming out to steal the election? No, they said, go for it. Take it to the judges that were appointed by Donald Trump and, see how it goes. And we all saw how it went. They all went down in flames. And Rudy Giuliani had his law license suspended. Then they said, we don't care. There's terrible fraud going on in the election. Well, so what did the Democrats, what did the people loyal to their country say? They said, great, let's do election audits. Let's do recounts in the states where Trump lost. Only in the states where Trump lost. Somehow there's no election fraud in the states he won. Isn't that strange? But they did all these audits. They did all these recounts and hand recounts. They looked at everything carefully and discovered that there was no fraud. When they say no fraud to speak of. There were about a dozen or 24 cases of people casting ballots either incorrectly or fraudulently. Those people were brought to task, and they were almost all Trump voters trying to vote twice for Trump. So the fraud that existed was on the Trump side. There's two things going on here. And that is, one, if evil men come to good men and say, hey, there's a problem going on, we need to do, then the good men will say, let's look into it. Let's find out what's going on. Now let's look at it from the opposite direction. Democrats have come to Republicans and said, look, you almost lost your government. And it is not pleasant. It is not happy when you go into anarchy. We worked hard to build this representative republic of democracy, and you're about to lose it. What did the Republicans do? Let's attack election workers and put people with bullhorns outside their homes, just scream at them. Let's attack state houses and let's get in there and see what we can do with violence. Let's attack the Capitol. Let's come up with more conspiracy theories. Let's come up with more lies. That is one of the differences between Republicans and Democrats. If you go to a Democrat and you say, I disagree with you, I think your stance on this is totally wrong, the Democrat will take a week and a half restudying their position, saying, wow, let me look into that. Let me find out. And they'll study in books and they'll try to find out where the historical basis for that is from. And because Democrats know that all issues are complicated. All things are complicated. And there might be a grain of truth in what that Republican is saying. Now, when a Democrat goes to a Republican and says, I disagree with the way you're working misinformation and confusion and division within the country, the Republican will say, your dog is ugly and you drive a stupid car. Boy, you live in a nasty house. You're a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad person. This is the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans view this as a game. When national leaders view their oath and their responsibility to work for the public weal as a game of we win, you lose, lots and lots and lots of people die. When national leaders view their responsibilities to work for the republic, to work for the public good, and to try to figure out how can we solve the problems that we have in this country, then everyone can look forward to a better life for themselves and for their offspring.